this is kind of be like a hodgepodge of news of well, I guess this is all sort of new stuff. As soon as I say that, we're starting out the old stuff first.
This is the only thing that's old. Everything else is new.
Yeah, that's true. One of the things we did not talk about recently, that everybody seems to be liking to talk about is the Konami. Konami is being kind of a jackass.
The just
Um,
pile of just it's a shithole. That's
it's
being polite.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it's not. It's Konami decided they actually need to make money. Okay, so what Konami has done, Konami has basically stopped making video games. They said a bazillion times. They've said many times over that they're done making video games, but they're not done using those properties.
Oh hell no.
No, so Konami has pretty much switched over to almost entirely a gambling company. They make pachinko machines. Pachinko, I played in Yakuza. It's a very very complicated betting game with lots of like little silver balls, and I don't understand it. But people in Japan seem to love these things, and actually a lot of like Japanese arcade culture is like kind of getting destroyed because of these stupid machines. So what Konami's doing is they're basically making these betting machines, and they're basing them off their famous franchises, including Castlevania, which features erotic violence, and they are going to be retelling Silent Hill 2, I believe, in pachinko format, which is clearly the best way to retell Silent Hill 2.
Better than the
Um,
movie.
no, no, it's not. Movie's okay. Better than the second one, probably. So besides making a bunch of pachinko machines, which I guess neither of us really have a lot of. Do you have any comment on that? I don't really. I'm
I no, it's just one of those things where I am a huge Castlevania fan, and seeing that go that way is just like, oh god, you could have just
yeah.
pretended this never existed, and I would have been much happier. In fact, like when that actually happened, I actually forgot about this. You sent me that link to like the trailer for it, and you said he just wrote, "Holy crap, new Castlevania." Dot dot dot, and sent me the link. And of course, I was busy at the time. I don't remember. I didn't watch the trailer. I just went, oh yes, this is so awesome! I'm so excited! I'm so excited! So excited! Like 2 hours later, I came back and watched the trailer. I was like, I hate you so much. So there I was for like 2 hours, like yes, they're new Castlevania, something cool, and it was that.
Yeah, the intervaling worked way better than I meant it to.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Brad remembers Castlevania, and Konami is asking. Konami set out the weirdest. I don't know what is a survey
yeah,
I've ever seen, and it's basically like a survey written by I got. I don't know. You know what I was thinking? I was just thinking of somebody like going through their closet trying to look for stuff to sell, like at a garage
yeah.
sale, and like, oh, I forgot about this. I wonder if people still remember this. I could probably get 50 cents off this thing.
It's yeah, it's that. Do I donate it or do I sell it? Game you play before a garage sale.
Yeah. But by donate, they mean throw away and never use.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what they did, they sent out a survey that basically said it didn't ask what your favorite franchise was. It didn't ask what are you most excited for. It just asked what do you recognize.
Yeah.
And it was every single franchise Konami owned, um, not MGS or Silent Hill.
Oh yeah, because everybody recognizes those, and we don't want to bring those up after the Kojima fun.
Oh no! Oh, you think that's why? I think they don't want to bring it up because they already have many, many different ways they're going to use and abuse both of those things.
Well, I mean, you knew that was going to happen regardless. Those are their two big ones. But I just went with like the I think the Metal Gear Solid 5 pulling his name off the box, Silent Hill's getting canceled. I think that's all too fresh for them to even remind people that they're the people behind that nonsense.
Yeah, yeah. I was reading a little bit about this. I kind of understand where Konami's coming from a business standpoint because apparently they're making like insane amount of money now
Oh, I'm
from
sure.
these stupid pachinko machines. So I don't know. I don't own a business. If my business was tanking and about to go under, I might decide to become a company that makes gambling machines.
It's just weird. It's just one of those things where it's like I wouldn't mind if they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna switch over to gambling, but like taking the shell of these formerly great franchises down with them.
Yeah, I guess in like the perfect world, people instead of just selling off the franchises because they're not going to do that. That's completely unrealistic that they because it's basically all they have to hold on to right now.
Yeah,
If they just paid people like if people paid them like licensing fees to make games for like
that would be
to make us
fantastic. I'd be all
like
about
that,
that.
yeah, so they can still make their stupid pachinko machines. But if there's somebody really passionate and really wants to make a Silent Hill game, or really wants to make Castlevania, or really wants to make Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters. There's some weird games in that list.
There were some,
I will
yeah,
admit there were some in there I didn't recognize.
there were a good chunk. There were a lot more than a few that I didn't recognize.
Yeah, yeah. It's like they pulled out like literally every franchise that they've ever done. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the state of Konami. We're never gonna see another big game from them. But
We have one final one.
yeah, moving on to our next news. Yeah, so I guess if you're never gonna make games again, you might as well make like the best game ever made.
Apparently.
Apparently. So I think everybody's kind of seen the reviews from Metal Gear Solid 5. Turns out it's really, really good. But that's not what we want to talk
Who would
about.
have thought?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I was kind of surprised. I was
Really?
surprised this game was. Yeah, I was surprised the game was. I wasn't surprised the game was good. I was surprised the game was amazing.
I guess that's true.
Because there's, I don't know, just because of the whole like fallout with like Kojima and whatever, especially during crunch time, I
Yeah.
was kind of like, this could really go one way or the other. So the game ends up being good, but we're going to talk a little bit from what we've read anyway. This is all from, this is all not necessarily hearsay, but, just like listening, like reading people's comments and things like that. So Metal Gear Solid 5, the review camp. So what the review camp was basically, from what I understand, it was like a 3-day period in which basically anybody who's reviewed this game went to this review camp, or at least who has a review out now,
Yeah.
went to this review camp. And what it was, Konami sat down people and gave them 50 hours to play through the game.
Over 3 days.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it was 3 or 4 days. I
Yeah.
don't remember exactly what it was. Yeah. So they were given 3 days to play the game. They had in that time they basically as far as they got was what that's how they had to base the review on, was as far as they got for those 50 hours.
Yep.
If they're gonna do this pre-release review. So basically there's been a lot of question is, okay, they had this review camp. Are these scores really reflective of what MGS5 is? Does this mean that there's some sort of, are the reviews compromised because of this? Is this game really not as good as people are saying because of this review camp thing? So I have kind of a single sentence opinion of this, but what do you think about this?
It's one of those things that just seems shady to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
Well,
necessarily know. I don't necessarily have an opinion one way or another. I think it's one of those things that just needs to be disclosed, like up front, like, hey, look, here's where this review is coming from. It may not be, exactly the final score, or maybe we'll talk about this. A lot of people didn't even bother to finish getting to the game in that amount of time. So it's like
yeah,
you're giving this game a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and you didn't even play the whole thing. And with
yeah,
that, there were no microtransactions were in this version of the game, and those will be in the final version.
yeah,
So you're leaving
yeah.
out part of the game that ultimately would eventually get review scores to get knocked down. Nobody's ever gone, ooh, microtransactions, let's bump this up a peg. So I don't know. It's shady.
Yeah, oh yeah, the other kind of part of this news, like Brad was saying with the no microtransactions. So they were not shown Metal Gear Online, and they were also not shown. There's a sort of weird online based mechanic where people can attack your base. Actual players can attack your base, similar to something like Dark Souls, where they can invade your base and you have to defend it. And they were shown this not as part of the games they were playing, but it's like a separate system. They were basically showing like a demo of this that was like 3 hours long or something, and then they were supposed to like kind of give their opinion on it. So it wasn't. So like they're playing their own game, and then they play a separate thing that's not exactly how you would even play that in the game. And there was microtransactions in that, but they didn't actually see the microtransactions because Konami didn't show them. With that said, I think that the 9 and 10s are still justified for a few reasons, because the 50-hour time limit and they didn't even get to finish the game shows like this is the absolute worst way to play this game. Like, was to rush through this game as fast as they could in 50 hours and do as much as they could was
Yeah,
the worst way to play this game. And it still got a 9 out of 10. Like, to me, playing that game, like rushing through that game sounds freaking terrible.
agreed.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if you're forced to rush through any game, like you're like, I don't enjoy doing that. I don't think a lot of people enjoy doing that. But the people who are forced to do this still enjoyed that game and still believed it should get a 9 out of 10. Now, they also said this game should get a 9 out of 10, and they also didn't see like two other parts of it. So they're saying just this campaign with nothing else added to it, is still a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10.
yeah, and it's not like 50 hours is a chunk of time. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not like, oh, we played the first 4 hours. those first 4 hours are a beast. This is gonna be a 10 out of 10. 50
Yeah,
hours. There are not many games I've sunk more than 50 hours into. You know what I mean? There's a good dozen or
yeah,
so, but there are not many games I play for 50 hours. So 50 hours to me sounds like a not for a game like this, probably not enough to get the full experience, but enough that I could trust your opinion on this.
yeah, yeah. Kind of. It's sort of like those like things like how do you like review an MMO? I don't think I mean the game's 50 hours. Like how long are Metal Gear Solid games normally? Not that long. Like 20 hours maybe?
Yeah, I would have guessed like 25 ish. I think they got longer as they went on. But
Yeah, this game's like at least two to three times as long as like a normal Metal Gear Solid game. So it's like a Metal Gear Solid game with the best Metal Gear Solid gameplay ever, and it's two to three times as big. But and it also has this extra stuff that hasn't been seen yet. So I I think it's okay. Like you know how we were talking about earlier, like if you have that tacked on multiplayer, does it actually make the game crappier or not?
yeah, and I agree with that. And I believe Metal Gear Online doesn't even come out until October anyway, right?
Yeah, something like that. That's kind of weird. I don't think they got to play Metal Gear Online. Like, I don't know how that's going to work out. That might even be like a separate thing entirely. But yeah, I'm kind of the opinion like, does this extra stuff would that lower the review score if the campaign is that good?
Well, and the fact is, the only part I care about is the campaign. So if that part would have lowered the game score anyway, that to me is binary domains issue. Like I said,
Hmm.
binary domain to me, campaign, I think easily could have pulled eights and nines, but you tack on a weird multiplayer, you tack on that stuff, and people get kind of a bad taste in their mouth. So you're reviewing parts of the game that, personally, I'm never going to touch anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a bit. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not a bit weird, and it's clear that like the microtransactions are gonna have a huge backlash, and I'm gonna bet once those microtransactions come out for whatever they are, I'm sure they're not gonna be good,
Oh,
and
no,
I'm
of course not.
sure.
They never are.
Yeah, no, they never. No, they really aren't. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of like modified review scores of it.
Yep.
But I again, like, I don't care. It's like if the main story has microtransactions, we're going to run into some big problems.
Yep. Again, as long as it's just it's all about the part that you want to play for this game. For me, it's just the campaign. That's
Mhm.
all I want. I don't want anything more. I just want a good Metal Gear campaign.
Yeah.
All that being said, awesome reviews, slightly shady circumstances. Day one.
Are you gonna day one it?
No, are you? That was a question.
Oh, you're asking me. Oh, that was like a giant question. No, I actually I was thinking about it, and then I guess we might as well talk about this news now. So then Yakuza 5 was announced with the pre-order. And I really sat down and thought, I was like, okay, do I want to spend $60 on Metal Gear Solid 5 or $35 right now on Yakuza? I immediately went with Yakuza.
But when does Yakuza even come out? Does it even have a
I don't
date?
know. I don't know.
So
I
that's
did
not
it on
even
an impulse.
$35 that you're spending for right now. That's $35 of future money.
Yeah, but Future might. Oh, I assume Future Might is coming soon. Oh, I don't even know. Who knows? Who knows when that game's coming out? But yeah, I guess that's the other news. This actually is on our thing. We were going to talk about this last, but we might as well talk about it now since I brought it up. So Yakuza 5, we got a few more details on Yakuza 5 recently, which fits right in nice with our binary domain stuff. These guys are just really good developers. Anyway, so Yakuza 5 English release. The news today was that it'll be launching for $40, which I think is an okay price. And you get 15% off with the pre-order, which I think was around $34 for me when all was said and done. So I think the $40 price tag is kind of justified. I know people are kind of uncomfortable saying it, like, oh, it's $40 for a last gen game. Why would I spend it? The Yakuza games have an ungodly amount of text in them, so I have to
Yeah.
imagine that this was just a huge, huge, huge endeavor to translate all this stuff. Um, so that means like you have to translate not only just like the main story, but every single side story, every single stupid mini game this game has. This game has like 20 or 30 mini games, like very very extensive mini games. They're not even like they're almost entirely different games if you really want to get into them. So anyway, so this Yakuza 5, the English release, already being $40, 15% off, will also include all the DLC. So all the DLC includes I, every main character gets a there's an additional side story that involves all of the main characters and you in the game. There's also a mini game that's like Crazy Taxi, and then just in addition with the game in general, the other thing they added is that you can play Virtual Fighter 2 in its entirety, and it has online play.
Jeez. Yeah, I'd say that's $40 worth of stuff.
Yeah, and like that's not the only arcade game. They also have an arcade game called Taiko Drum Master, which is like a rhythm game, but it's like the actual game. So you get like I don't know, like 4 or 5 games worth of content with this thing, and it's $40.
It doesn't sound too bad to me at all.
No, and I've heard this game is almost better than Yakuza. I honestly was trying to think like at the in December we're going to have to do our game of the years, and I was thinking if we're going to do our game of the years, we have to talk about only games we've played. And I was thinking Bloodborne, that's going to be my game of the year easily, but Yakuza 5's coming, and
God.
it has a really good shot.
If it comes out this year, you don't even know when it's coming out.
It's coming out this year. It might come out this year. Who knows when it's coming out? I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. They have like pre-order stuff. I really hope it. I assume it's got to be coming out. I don't know.
2017.
Okay, it's not going to be like that. It's coming out in like the next. It's coming out. It's coming out like the next 3 months, maybe.
Fingers
Anyway,
crossed.
yeah. If you want more Yakuza games brought over, go buy this so you can get Yakuza 0 as well. This is gonna be a hard sell to people who don't know what Yakuza is. I was hoping that PS Plus like introduced Yakuza to enough people that maybe this will be profitable enough that they'll actually bring over the other Yakuza games. I don't think that's gonna happen though.
Yeah, but then how many people actually play all those PS Plus games? I have Yakuza 4 and I've never touched it.
Well, I imagine people have PS3s.
I have a PS3 and I didn't touch
Well,
it.
PS3 only. That's
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I also have an ungodly large backlog of games too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, yeah. I liked what they did with that. Like they introduced it to me, introduced me to the Yakuza series. Also, kind of a minor news thing: the Yakuza devs at TGS they are going to announce a new series or a new something. So it's either going to be a new Yakuza game or they're going to be doing a whole new.
Or a new binary domain.
It could be a new binary domain. It actually could be. Who knows?
There is room for a sequel at the end of that.
Is it really?
Not explicitly, but you could easily do it.
Okay.
It'd be a very different game if they followed the path, but it's there.
Yeah. It's probably not going to be that.
It's not, but it would be fun.
Yeah. This is a weird one. Brian, you're going to have to explain this one because I don't have a Wii U and I don't really follow Wii U news. So this Fatal Frame shenanigans.
So another Japanese game that's coming over here, Fatal Frame subtitle that I don't remember, didn't write down. So Fatal Frame subtitle is getting a digital only release, which some people are irritated by just because digital only nobody's ever really super happy about.
Yeah.
But it's coming in October, which this was announced a while ago, and it's finally got a date because Nintendo doesn't announce release dates until like a month before because it's Nintendo. But one of the cool things about this that I really like, and I really wish more people would do this, the game is what they're calling free to start. So what that means is when you go on your Wii U, you can download the game and play the prologue, chapters 1 and 2 for free. And then at that point, I'll just give you a prompt like, hey, do you want to keep going? It's, I don't remember the price. I don't think it was a full 60. I think it might have been 40. Do you want to pay the $40 to keep going?
I mean that's kind of cool, but I mean that's not. I think they gave it a weird name, but I've seen that. I mean, like Walking Dead is like that. I mean, most small games, a lot of small games, like that, especially
episodic games are.
Yeah.
Like Walking Dead. Like what non-episodic game is like that?
Oh God! As soon as you put me on the spot,
of course
I've played. Unfinished Swan is like that.
Yeah, because the demo is the first level. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of smaller. I thought Journey did Journey have a demo?
No,
Probably
Journey
not.
didn't have a demo.
No, there's a few games. There's a few games I've played. I think Nintendo's trying to make this up as like, but even if you think about like classic demos, a lot of classic demos are the intro to a game. Like all the Final Fantasy demos are usually the opening of the game. I think it's kind of cool that it's really easy now. I just don't think this is wholly unique, but I think it's kind of cool that Nintendo is like putting a pretty big game out to do this. This isn't just like a small game. This is like it's like a full release game, and they're doing that.
But I think with Fatal Frame, it's not a hugely recognizable series outside of like a small crowd. So I think you're going to get a lot of buys off this for people who just start playing it and get invested into the story and go, okay, well, I need to keep going at this point. Because a game like Yoshi's Woolly World that's coming out makes no sense to this. You know exactly what you're getting. Everybody knows what that is. Fatal Frame, I don't even know when the last Fatal Frame was released in the US. I feel like it's been lots of years.
Been a long time. I was just trying to think.
I'm thinking PS2, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
I don't know Fatal Frame enough to answer that. But anyway.
But yeah, so I mean, I feel like you were saying with Yakuza, it would make sense. Like if you did this with Yakuza and you let people get a start with it, and you get
Yeah.
invested in that story, you just want to keep going. I don't know. I think it's a really good way for these smaller, traditionally, kind of niche games to get a chance to really expose themselves to lots of people in a way that's more meaningful than a demo of just like, okay, here's a splice of something cool from the game.
Yeah, I think like in a perfect world, it'd actually be kind of cool if like every game did this. Like
And
every
that's what I'm
game.
thinking. Yeah.
Oh, you know who else? Actually, no. You know who did do this is the Metro devs. Metro, they this is
Oh
totally
yeah,
those
they
the
just did
Metro
that like
games.
last like 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get like 3 hours or something to play. I forgot how long you have to play the game, but you can get pretty far in the game. Although, I guess we never really talked about that, so I can mention that. I actually did download those and start playing those. There is a huge piece of text on it that says something like preview version the entire time you play.
Oh, like a watermark.
Yeah, like there's that's exactly what it is. It's a gigantic watermark that says like it doesn't say buy now, but like even during like really intense cutscenes, it just says like preview mode or whatever demo mode or
Oh,
something like that. And
that's
it's super.
obnoxious.
Yeah, that made me like not want the game.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool. I like seeing weird games get released. It's kind of my same thing with Killer is Dead. It's just a weird game. I like that. Not something that's
hmm
huge. And I think it's kind of a cool way to introduce people to different games that may not be interested in them.
Yeah, I think that devs are getting a lot more creative with how they do that, with how they kind of market their games now because you can like start servicing like niche audiences really well. I mean, they did this with Yakuza. Like they showed Yakuza 4 on PS Plus, and the only
Yeah.
reason like you were getting Yakuza 5 at all is because a lot of like I guess enough people downloaded Yakuza 4 on PS Plus for them to go, okay, maybe we can actually do bring Yakuza 5 over because it's a pretty big series and it's like the games are pretty expensive, so I assume they want to try to sell them as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So, really small news. Nvidia, if you bought an Nvidia graphics card, basically in the past few months, it came with a copy of Arkham Knight for PC. And we talked about our last not our last episode, a few episodes back, the Arkham
Like
Knight
10
PS
episodes
PC.
ago.
Yeah, basically the PC version of Batman is just straight up broken. Maybe it's gotten fixed by now. I really don't know. I doubt it. I feel like there would have been a new story if it had been fixed.
Yeah.
So now instead of you will still get Batman, but now they'll also give you Metal Gear Solid 5, which is pretty damn cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good way to kind of go like, hey, you guys bought this on this promise. It wasn't us that
hmm
didn't live up to it, but, it's just cool customer service.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. I was just surprised it was like a new game.
Oh, instead of like, we'll give you Arkham City.
Yeah, or something. Like a bunch of older games or something. But no, it's like no, we're gonna give you like a brand new game that's coming out and you'll get it like day one. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Uh, Speaking of games that you'll get for free day one, haha. So PS Plus was announced. No, the PS Plus games were announced for next month.
Yeah.
So I'll just name them real quick. So for PS4, you get Grown Home, you get Super Time Force Ultra, you get a game this one I actually haven't heard of, Zeo Drifter, and you get Tesla Grad. Zeo Drifter is also for Vita, Tesla Grad's also for PS3. In addition to that, you'll also get Twisted Metal for PS3 and La Mulana EX for Vita. This is honestly like one of the best months that I've seen.
Okay, tell me why, because I recognize 3 of these games.
Okay, yeah, no, exactly. I think this is one of those ones where like people like I think a lot of people are like this month sucks because they just haven't heard these games. Okay, so Grow Home, you actually do like Grow Home. I know that we've been both
Yeah,
kind of
I think
excited
we're
for
both
that.
very curious in Grow Home, and that was the one that won the voting thing that we talked about. I remember if we talked about it last episode or the episode before, but it won all the
Yeah,
votes like we pretty much everybody knew it would.
yeah. I mean, it's an Ubisoft game that only came out on PC and it looked awesome. I don't even really know what that game is now that I think about it. I know that you climb and you jump and there's plants that grow high and
And it
that's
looks
about
pretty.
yeah, that's all we know about Grow Home. I mean, that's the one that everybody's kind of excited about. Okay, Super Time Force Ultra is a game that has not been released on PS4. Okay, yeah, Grow Home. This is its PS4 debut. So like the day it releases, you'll get it on PS Plus. Super Time Force Ultra is the same thing. This game came out on Xbox, I believe, and this is a 2D platformer, and every time you die, you respawn as another character, and then your kind of ghost from the last time you died still plays through. So if you die 5 times, you'll have 5 characters on the screen all shooting with you.
So is it like Rogue Legacy where it's a annoying thing?
Um, it's not randomized if that helps.
But is it like you die and you have to start all the way back over at the beginning?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think there's a checkpoint system, but the thing is, like every time you die, oh, when I say you start as a new person, like the old person still fights with you.
Oh, so like a co-op partner, like a squad mate type thing?
Like you basically create your own co-op. So like, okay, well, here's an idea. Okay, let's say I run forward, I shoot a guy, I jump over, shoot another guy, and then I die. So I'll respawn, but that character I had just played as will do that. Like the AI will take over. Like it records my gameplay footage.
Oh, that's super awesome.
Yes, but the thing is, like, so that kind of concept they do, but like, let's say you die 5 or 6 times, so they have like 5 or 6
It just starts
characters. Or,
piling up. That's really, 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 really cool.
yeah, it's kind of a neat concept, and they're also having some exclusive characters. This we actually talked about this one time. They're gonna have like the Journey character. They're gonna have the Shu from like from the guy who like runs PlayStation basically, and they're also gonna have one of the Order characters.
Oh, we totally did talk about this.
We
That's why
did
that game
totally talk.
sounds familiar.
Oh god, this PS Plus news is basically Doug explains these games to Brett.
Hey, I know Go Home and Twisted Metal.
Okay, Twist Metal PS3 is oh man,
I'm excited. I love Twisted Metal, and I never touched this. Mostly because
Twisted
I heard it
Metal
was
PS3
okay.
is a very very different Twisted Metal. Actually, I didn't like it. This is gonna sound very not hardcore of me. I thought it was too fast. I think that I played a lot of Twist Metal Black. I beat Twist Metal Black with like every character on the hardest difficulty, so I really like these games. But Twist Metal PS3 is so freaking fast. It's basically Twist Metal super sped up, and I didn't really like that. So the main base gameplay I wasn't a huge fan of. Black is still probably my favorite gameplay wise. But this is the coolest Twisted Metal universe of all the Twisted Metals. It's basically Twisted Metal like finally. It's like finally a really good mix between like the hardcore gruesomeness of Twist Metal Black and the super goofiness of the earlier games, and it's kind of in between that, and it's
Oh,
sort of
that's
like
really cool.
heavy. Yeah, you know what it reminds me of a lot is actually is a Brutal Legend. Um,
I love Brutal Legend.
okay, well it's not funny per se, but it's like huge cars, like gigantic, like engines with like these like flames shooting out of them, and like just like what's that Dragula, and it's like all like death metal music and stuff. It's so good. I don't know. That's kind of a weird one. I'm kind of excited for you to play, so we can talk about that one later. Zero Drifter, I actually don't know anything about.
Yeah, I've never heard that one either.
Yeah, it looks like a 2D platformer. It looks like an indie 2D platformer,
Yeah,
which can either be
all of these looked like, other than Grow Home and Twisted Metal, they were all just 2D platformers with the retro look, which bothered me a little bit because it's like I'm fine with those games, but give me some kind of variety. Like I don't want the same game 4 times.
yeah. Well, okay. The thing with like 2D platformers by indie devs is either they're awesome or they're really average. I
Yeah.
haven't really played a bad one. They're just kind of average. Zero Drifter, so I don't really know anything about that. Tesla Grad actually bought recently, so I'm kind of finally got screwed on that.
Haha.
Yeah, that was the first time. It's kind of a neat game. Oh god, how do I describe this game? So the 2D platformer, that's the best way to start. It's a 2D, and the Tesla Grad, the sort of universe is that it's set in like basically this like communist era Stalingrad, but you play as like a Tesla. You play kind of, I think you play as Tesla, but it's basically like communist era Russia with science. So it's kind of cool. It's a puzzle. It's more of a puzzle game than it is a
Actiony thing.
yeah. Okay, so La Mulana is actually probably one of the best games on this list, and I haven't played it, but it's basically like,
Wait. You just said it's one of the best games and you've never played it.
well, yeah, I've just heard about it enough. I've heard about it enough that it's like that people have like, oh god, this game is amazing. So La Mulana is basically like a super hardcore action platformer with really intense puzzles. That's apparently like impossible to finish without a guide. And
Well, you just made sure I never touched that.
yeah, well, I don't know, for free though, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, but the fact that it's things I dislike,
Well, it's
no.
actually, the game that actually took a lot of inspiration from it was Splunker, whatever that game was. The game that neither of us liked, that everybody seems to love.
Oh yeah, I don't like that game.
Yeah, but it's that, but not randomly generated, and actually has puzzles.
Yeah, but I don't like puzzles either.
So Brad might not have a good time with this game. I don't. I think it'll be very interesting. At the very least, I think it'll be really interesting when we talk about games we played because I think a lot because we really haven't played like most of these games.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It's always cool to try them out, even if it's something that I know I'm not gonna like,
Hmm.
or not know I'm not
Yeah.
gonna like. That sounds really negative. Something I don't really seem that interested in.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I kind of like about PS Plus is like there's just games like a lot of people just have never heard of. Like, well, I might as well try it just to see what it is. It's not like they ever would have bought it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. The only one of the only two of these I would have ever considered buying was Grow Home and Twisted Metal. So
Yeah,
hey, I get to check out the other ones for the heck of it.
yeah. Hopefully, Twist Metal have like it actually is a pretty big online, so I'm kind of curious to see how that'll go.
Yeah, I've never really tried a PS Plus game online. I wonder if like the community kind of comes back for a minute just because there's so many new people with it, or if it just is completely dead still.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it's gonna have like a Rocket League surge, but I mean, there's gonna be more than zero people playing online, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I guess that kind of wraps up our episode. As always, you can find us on Twitter at darksliders_pod. You can also find us on YouTube where you can subscribe. You can also find us on iTunes. Our SoundCloud, for whatever reason, is getting a lot of hits recently. And we apologize if you were trying to listen for Everybody's Gone to the Rapture music and you suddenly hit our podcast
But
review
welcome
thinking
and
that
thank you for listening to this hour.
yeah. I just gotta imagine like almost all of our SoundCloud hits were just from people like, what the hell is this? This is not the music. But that does prove that the music in Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is really good. So we're here every week. I guess we'll see you next week.
Bye.